Before we go further in the Nefesh Hachaim, I just want to digress. I actually started digressing, so I'm just not really digressing. I'm just going further with what I was doing. But so I'm going to show you this Maral, which I quote often, and it speaks to me. Maral's in Gvuras Hashem, Perek Nun Zayin, the end of Perek Nun Zayin. And here, Maral says the following: Uba Medrash, which is Avos Drab Nasan Perek Lamed Gimel, says B'schush al Mitzrayim. Interesting Medrash. Medrash says that the schus that Avram Avinu was able to endure Eser Nisyonos, in the schus of that, it's a funny kind of a word. So Parai endured Eser Makos. Is that a schus for Parai too? Or was it a schus for Yisrael? Who was the schus here? But b'schush in Isnasa Avraham ba'asar nisyonos hevi HaKadosh Baruch Hu asar negayim al Mitzrayim. Ubir zeh, says the Maral, as following: Ki zeh ki asar nisyonos nisnasa Avraham. Just I don't want to say this outside. I want to say it inside because the words are half of a fellow. Zeh ki asar nisyonos nisnasa Avraham. Why did Avram Avinu have to go through 10 nisyonos? Kedei livchain amitas atzmai. Kedei livchain amitas atzmai. In order to find out the emes of himself. Hashem was finding out, he was finding out, but livchain, this was a bechina of amitas atzmai. Listen, kilafamim, because at times, mare ha'adam atzmai tzaddik, sometimes a person can look like a tzaddik, be'enoi be'emes tzaddik, and he's not a tzaddik. Rak shenira kain, he just looks like a tzaddik. Ever see that phenomenon? It's v'haya Hashem yisparach. Even Avram Avinu was nechshad that maybe he's just acting like a tzaddik, but he's not really a tzaddik. So he had to go through 10 tests kidei lamoid alamitas atzmai, to come to touch that nerve of what are you really. So this Maral, it's not enough what you do. We're talking about what you are. And what you are is a completely different bechina. What you do, Avram Avinu already demonstrated what he does. He jumps into hot, fiery furnaces to make a Kiddush Hashem. That's what he does. What do? I jump into furnaces. That's what I do. What are you had to go through a lech lecha, which would seem as a less of a nisayon, etc., until he got to what? What was the final? The Akedah. The Akedah, says the Maral, the Akedah, that already showed Avram Avinu it already showed who Avram Avinu really was. The Akedah.
To prove himself to himself, or prove himself to Hashem?
I don't know, or both. Ki ha'asiri, says the Maral in typical Maral Lashon, ki ha'asiri etzem hadavar. Because whenever you talk about 10, and this is important for us, maybe somebody will bring me a Pirkei Avos or a siddur. Asiri hu etzem hadavar. Whenever we're talking about 10, it gets down to the atzmius. I have here then. It gets down to the atzmius hadavar. It gets down to the essence of it. So 10 nisyonos was bezeh acher zeh, in order to get down to the essence of Avram Avinu, and the essence of Avram Avinu was makas b'charis. This, the 10, is the essence of things. Is not just the Maral, even though the Maral speaks about it. And the Maral, as far as I know, was not a makubal. I don't know if he even had access to Kabbalistic writings. But the 10 Sfiros is all about that. The 10 Sfiros is all getting down to the etzem hadavar, whether you work from top to bottom or bottom to top. There's an etzem hadavar in Malchus, and there's an etzem hadavar in Keser. The Maharal just amazingly came, as did the Rambam, basically came to many of the same conclusions that the Mekubalim came to, and I don't even know that the Rambam ever saw a Zohar, or even maybe saw a Midrashim or something, but the Maharal doesn't quote the Zohar. In the new Maharals, they have footnotes where the Zohar says the same thing, but he himself does not quote the Zohar, the Maharal. So it was completely some Masorah that he had and Machshava that he had, and he was a genius. That's when he came to the same with Siyata Dishmaya. And so this Asiri is an old idea. It's an old idea, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and older, that the Asiri he etzem hadavar. But the Maharal says that Avraham Avinu had to get to Akedas Yitzchak. I will explain in a minute. But just to do the math, Kamokain, same thing. Kasher hevi HaKadosh Baruch Hu hamakos al Mitzrayim. When it came to the 10 plagues, the makos al Mitzrayim, hevi eser makos kadesha tehei hamako ba'amitas atzmon shel Mitzrayim. The 10 makos were not just 10 makos. Let's try this, let's try that. The 10 makos were going minakala la koshev, minachitzoin el apnim. They were going deeper and deeper until it got to Makas Bechoros. Makas Bechoros is the makbil with the Nisayon of the Akedah. The Ubamaka Asiris Higia Hamaka La'etzem Mitzrayim V'himakos Bechoros Kamoshe Hisbar. Chart. But I don't even. V'ra'oi, says the Maharal, al ha'ish hamaskil. If you're a smart person, it's befitting lohaisif b'zeh haskel v'das, to add on to this thought. I don't know if I'm a smart person, but I want to add on to the thought. I'll do what he says. Ki'i efshir lefarish kol davar b'firish ach yoisif hama'ayin b'zeh v'daite. I can't explain everything, says the Maharal. I need you to be able to think about this. So let me just say this, which is not, I'm not going anywhere but where the Maharal is going, but just to explain. It's a davar nifla that when it comes to, let's talk about Avram for a second. It's a davar nifla to me that a person would be willing to endure all types of pain and challenges and tests for himself or herself. And they'll give up parnasa not to be mechal Shabbos. They'll starve not to eat treif. But then the question comes, what am I teaching my children? And it's interesting, you think maybe that's like a step removed, so it's almost easier to tell your kid to keep Shabbos than it is for you yourself to keep a Shabbos, but it's not true. Because the way, what I do, whether I'm willing and able and strong about giving that over to my children, the children represent, the children that we have, what we want to give over to the next generation represents amitas atzmai. We see that sadly. I made this sad observation before. I've seen people, when I was a kid, even a rabbi of Holocaust survivors, so strict. Everything was so strict, so strict. Somebody would just say a word wrong, they start yelling at them. Not like a gentleman like here, it was strict. Everything was strict with them, like if somebody didn't walk back 3 steps correctly or didn't bring the right schnapps or something, it was very, very strict. Except somehow it was okay for their kids to not be frum. Like, not judging anybody. I'm just saying that it's an interesting thing that I felt cynically that in their heart of hearts, we're going to do the right thing. But after all we went through, maybe like if my kid goes a different way, maybe it's even better. And I noticed this phenomena. It saddens me, and I'm don the milkav schus in the deepest way, but I noticed this phenomenon because dealing with, in the 70s and the 80s with Balei Tshuva that were coming back, They were coming back. It wasn't brand new. They were coming back, but it was somehow grandparents and parents that let this go. So the thing is like this. Hashem said to Avraham Avinu that, okay, you're willing, but are you willing to sacrifice your son on this altar? Are you willing to really put this Laman Yitzave L'dar Acharav? Are you really willing to take this further? So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him the Nisayon of the Akedas Yitzchak, and he passed that Nisayon, so Hashem said, okay, now I see Ata. Now I see Shirei Elokim Ata. Now I see that you're a Yarei Hashem. I didn't see that he was a Yarei Hashem before that, but the ability to give it over. Here, let's take it over to Paro for a second before we get to the Chidush HaRim. Let me just ask this question. At the end of all the Eser Makos, Basof, did Paro agree or he didn't agree? He was with the program or he wasn't with the program? Makas Bechoros. Was he with the program or he wasn't with the program? So let me just say a couple of things about this. I think I mentioned on Shabbos that like this Boel Paro ki ani hichbadati es liboy. I hardened his heart, Hashem said, is like the challenge of all Jewish philosophers. What do you harden his heart? Where is his free choice? If you harden his heart, then it's not real. So I'll tell you what I think it means, like what they call in yeshivas a balabatish svara, which is usually not a compliment. I'll tell you anyway. So Pashat Abbas, I'm thinking like this, that I don't know anything about politics and military strategies, of just what I read for 10 minutes a day on the internet. But I'll just give you a mushal. I'm not making a political comment. Let's give you a mushal. Like, let's say Loyalenu from Gaza, they're throwing hundreds of missiles on Israel. Immediately, Israel takes fighter jets and starts to bomb the hell out of the Palestinians or the Gazans, Hamas. So everybody feels heart, okay, finally we're going to finish them off. Now I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not getting involved with that. I have no idea. But everyone feels okay. We'll finish them off. Then all of a sudden, Egypt, Daika, negotiates a ceasefire, and Israel stops. And what does the whole country say? Darn it. And let them shoot one more missile. Please shoot one more missile so they'll violate the ceasefire so that we can continue to wipe them off the face of the earth. There's a mentality here of a ceasefire is a pain in the neck. And in fact, in this case, in the last few weeks, broke up the whole government. That Israel agreed to a ceasefire. Bakasher, what do I say? Again, I don't. Yeah.
They just want to mow lawn, but people want to
solve the problem. Solve the problem. Exactly right. Right. Solve the problem. So again, this is not a political commentary, but I'm just explaining a ceasefire, whether it's between Russia and the Ukraine, or Israel and Gaza, or whatever it might be. A ceasefire is not a victory. A ceasefire is where an enemy is getting attacked so badly that this is just not worth fighting. Ceasefire, you're destroying us. Let's stop. Let's think about it. Maybe we'll make peace. Probably we won't. Maybe we'll get more ammunition. We'll get our strength back together. It's a ceasefire. It's a ceasefire. Hudna. It's just stopping, but it doesn't solve the problem. So what happens with Paro is Dam, Svardeya, Kinim, Arov. He's getting these things, and finally he says, by Barad, whoa, must speak. Hashem HaTzadik, first, a big epiphany. Hashem HaTzadik, V'ani v'ami Rishoyim. And that should be the end of it, really. Ani HaTzadik, no, it's not the end. Why is it at the end? Bo al paro kani chbadati aslibai. What does it mean? It means, what he said, he already said, Ani Hashem HaTzadik, V'ani v'ami Rishoyim. That's vidui, Kabbalah, laws, and everything, like he did Shuvah, l'chara. So why hichbadati aslibai? Why would you do that? The pshat is that this, Hashem says, by Balabatish Svara, this Hashem Atzadik V'ani V'ami HaRashaim is hold fire. It's not a change, an essential change in the Lashon of the Maral, of Amitas Atzmai, of Paroi and his country, his civilization, his culture. The civilization, the culture of civilization did not change. They were under fire from Hashem. He even recognized that the fire is coming from Hashem, Hashem HaTzadik. He even recognized that he has something to do with it, but that does not yet represent an essential change in Paroi. So what happens? This time Hashem says, no ceasefire. No ceasefire. Ani ichbadati es libai. You know, what is half the population of Israel hoping after there's a ceasefire? Shoot one more missile so we can attack you again. Whatever, it's worth it, you know. So Hashem says, Ani ichbadati es libai. I'm not allowing him to do that. Not just of Paro. Paro represented a culture of the majority of the universe, for that matter, including the Jews. It was a culture. Or whatever a klipa means. Just like there was a culture of the world by Sdom or by the Migdal Bavel, or so many different times by the Mabul, the world culture was off. But this time Hashem said in Mitzrayim, which he didn't say by the Migdal Bavel. This time Hashem said, no Hudnai or no ceasefire. This fight is going to begin, and this is going to continue until what? Until we get down to Amitas Atzmai. Yes, David? You hear? So the Indian here is that B'schus, the Asar Nisyonis, Avram Avinu showed how deep something can go by going and doing the mice of the Akedah. And because of that, B'schus, a human being, was able to show how deep, we could always say, look, we're only human, yeah? We could always say that line. But human's very big. This is what Avram Avinu showed. A human is a very, very big thing. So you just now raised the bar, Avram Avinu, and B'schus, Asar Nisyonis Shenisnasa Avram Avinu, says the Maral, that's going to be the same testing that Paro is going to have to endure until I know that the culture is changed. I believe, might be a chiddush to you, or it might be radical, or it might be wrong, but I believe that he hit the nerve. He touched, with Makas Becharos, he touched the nerve of Paro. There was a change. I don't know that the change lasts, because a lot of times we can get to the essence of something, and then a minute later we're not there anymore. But
Chased after them.
He chased after them, but it doesn't mean that. What's my raya? So here, look at the Chumash. My raya, it says so in the Chumash. It says in Parshas Bai, the sequence of the Torah here. There was a Makas Choshech. The Makas Choshech came, that was the 9th Makkah, right? Choshech, Makas Becharos. It was the 9th Makkah. This Makkah made Paro very angry. Vayikra Paro Moshe v'yomer l'chu yivdu es Hashem raktzonechem ukarchem v'yomer Moshe gam atat titem b'yadenu zvachim v'oilos v'asinu l'Hashem Elokeinu gam miknenu yelech imanu l'sishar parsa ki mimenu nikach lavid es Hashem Elokeinu. Or Paro gives in by Choshech, and he says, okay, go. And he says, no. We need a lot of animals. We need all kinds of things to take with us. This is not. So Paro is, rather Moshe Rabbeinu is pushing the envelope here with Paro. You know, like, don't tell us we can go. Paro, this is the first time he reacts like this. Vayomer lo Paro, lech me'olai, get out of here. Lech me'olai. He shomer lecha, you better be careful, he tells him. This is at the 9th, after 9 Makkos. After 9 Makkos, he says, you better be careful. Al tosef ra'os panai, you should not appear before me. I don't want to see your face. Ki b'yoyim ra'oscha panai tamus. if you appear here again, I will kill you. Pele didn't kill him until then. But he says, if one more time, you're dead. Vayomer Moshe, here's the Pele. Kain dibarta, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. You're making yourself very clear. You will not see my face again. End of the story. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, and Hashem says to Moshe, Od nega echad avi al pari v'al Mitzrayim. One more makkah to go. You're out of Mitzrayim. One more makkah to go. Where was this nevuah?
In Mitzrayim.
Where in Mitzrayim?
In the palace.
Yeah, Rashi says.
You have to tell Paro.
You have to tell Paro. And he said, I'm never going to see you again. Oh. Zokt Rashi. Vayomer Moshe. Ko Amar Hashem, Pasuk Daled Revi, Vayomer Moshe Ko Amar Hashem. He starts to talk to Paro again. Kechatzos halayla ani yotze b'toch Mitzrayim, etc. Vayomer Moshe Ko Amar Hashem, says Rashi, Ba'amdai lifnei Paro nemer loy nevuah zu. Harsha harei, Mishiyatze mefanav loy hasev rois ponai. He just said, you're not going to see my face anymore. So it must be that in that same meeting with Paro, after Paro threatened his life, look what happened. He received a nevuah from Hashem, but Bais Paro, he's standing in front of Paro. And he told him, okay, you're not going to see me again, but let me tell you now, that there's going to be Makas B'charos. And what's interesting, I don't know if I know the answer to this question, Hashem says, so while I've got you, Moshe, I want you to go out and borrow. Tell the people, it was important to be that nevuah somehow, different question. But this is a pella, or is a pella, because every time Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or wanted Hashem to speak to him, he went out of town. I don't know where he went exactly, but he says every time he went out into some meditation, and Ephraim says, "Kapai lifnei Hashem." Moshe maybe Mitzrayim. He went out of at least the metropolitan area of Mitzrayim. He put up his hands to Hashem, and he davened to Hashem. That's what happened every single time, except for here. This was the only nevuah that he received, which was keneged halacha, if you will, to get a nevuah, not just in Mitzrayim, which was never his minhag. Never got a nevuah in Mitzrayim. He always had to go out. Always had to go out into the fields, like he was like a Breslover, you know. He had to always go out. All of a sudden, here he is, Rabish, in the Makor HaTumah, not just a Makom Tumah, in the Makor HaTumah, in a Beis Avodah Zarah, which is worse than a Beis HaKisei, and Hashem is speaking to him and telling him about Makas B'charos. Kemash Milon, that at this very moment, the Shekhinah was able to be Bebeis Paro.
It says Hashem did the last makkah himself.
Yeah.
Because we also, of course he's there. He was doing it.
The Zohar says something like, I remember the Lashon, that Paro actually went into a state of depression after the Makos, not because all the Bechoros died, but like I had this whole relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now I lost it. So there's an interesting, you know, sometimes a person could have, like Chas v'Shalom Lo Yaleinu, a person could have Yisurim, and you daven, and you have Yisurim, and you daven, and it's a whole dusiach with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then it works, the Yisurim go away, and you're like, what do I do now? Where's my davening? Where's my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Ish davar kazeh. But what the nekuda here is, the nekuda I want to bring out is that laharos hamitas atzmai was that Paro apparently did a changeover at this moment. Makas b'chayros, even the shmua of Makas b'chayros changed over Paro so much so that the nevuah can be right there. So all of a sudden, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to have a nevuah, bebeis paroi, lifnei paroi. Paroi maybe even was part of this nevuah because Paroi got to the madrega of the Akedah for a second. Where, okay, so what happens? Vayichabed Hashem es leiv Paro, no ceasefire, but complete surrender and peace. That's what we're looking for over here, right? Not a ceasefire, complete surrender and peace. So what's the complete surrender and peace? Makas b'charis. Laharis hamitas hatzmi. We're not going to stop, says Hashem. We're not going to stop until we get the emes here, until we get a meaningful peace, a meaningful relationship. And that only came about with Eser Makos, and only came about Dafka with Makas B'charis, where it was a question of, am I willing to subject? So even this evil person, Paro, was able to recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu when it came to subjecting his children to his philosophy, which was rejecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Such a deep thing that Rashi is saying, one word in Rashi, that this must have been, al pi pshat. It must have been bebeis paroi. There's no other way. There's no other way to see it. Bebeis paroi.
But the shift had to happen before the nevuah.
During. So the Mefarshim say like this, that the choshech goes together with the makas b'charis, and the choshech already knocked the klipa. Let's put it in Kabbalistic terms for a minute. That. And this is really gets to where I started talking about on Sunday. What we need to understand is that there are Asurim Amaris, Nivra Ha'elam. There are Eser Makos and Mitzrayim. There were in between Asur Nisyonos, Shenisnasa Avram Avinu. And there are Aseres HaDibros. And Asara. So the Maharal says, you know what? Esther seems to be a big number. Let's etzem hadavar. Etzem hadavar. Somehow or another, Asara is etzem hadavar. So it means as follows. Here's the language that we need to use. When it talks about the Asara Makos, it's in Parakeh, right? But Asara Mamaris Nivra Eilam. Break the Mishnah as if it's a Gemara. The Mishnah. Oma Talmud Loimar. What's the point? Asar Mamaris Nivra Elam. What's the point? Haloi b'maimer echad yachol lihi baros. Hashem could have said, Yehi world, and there's a world. What is it? Yehi or, Yehi rakia, Yehi mairis b'rakia, Tacha arts. What do you need all the process for it? Hashem could do anything. I want there to be a world. Poof, there's a world. What do you need Asar Mamaris? That's a Mishnah's kasha. What are we learning from the fact that Asar Mamaris Nivra Elam? So says the Mishnah, Ella lihi para min harishoyim. So gewaldig for us. Shema abdinas ha'elam shenivra b'asar mamaris. It increases the level of punishment for Rishayim that violate the world, which was created in Asar Mamaris, that somehow or another now they have tenfold violation. We're going to really throw the book at it. On the other hand, Litain Sochar Toiv, Latzadikim, Shemakaimin Asailan Shenivra Basar Mamaris, and tenfold schar for tzadikim which are doing the Asar Mamaris. What does that mean? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it in 10 stages, so Rishayim do worse and tzadikim do better. What's the nekuda here? Rishayim, tzadikim. So literally, God is in the details. It means l'dati that when Hashem divided it out for us, when He laid it out for us, and He said, "Asar mamaris nivra oilam." Do you know what the Asar mamaris are? Let me just say, I wrote it down. Bereishis bara is the first mimer. Yehi or, second, Yehi rakia. Mavdil ben mayim lamayim. The fourth one is Yikavu hamayim. Fifth one is Tadshe haaretz. Tehim oireis berakia. Tishritzu hamayim. Tehim nefesh chaya. Fascinating. He created vegetation, then He created fish, and then he created animals, and then he created man. Nasa Adam, Lachem Yeh La'achla, and the 10th mimer, interesting enough, is that, and man, you're allowed to eat the fish and the meat. Like, it goes backwards. In other words, so there was the creation, the Asar Mamaris was a clear progression of creation. What's the Nakuda? That you could just say that Hashem created the world, and what he Breishis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz. So the idea is recognize that Breishis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz. We'd all be doing well to recognize that Breishis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz. Like, just like after all said and done, Hashem created the world. Yeah, that would be a fantastic thing to recognize. But no, I'm going to tell you more detail here. I'm going to tell you about the sun, I'm going to tell you about the moon, I'm going to tell you about the sky, the earth, and the water, and this corresponds mamish directly to the Eser Makos. I started to draw the lines, but it's really not important for our discussion right now. But it's interesting that the Arba came and covered the whole earth, and every Havdalah between Shemayim and Aretz was taken away, and Barad was Shemayim and Aretz together. There's so much connection, but the point is I'm going to give you the details of this, because every one of these things requires an avodah, and every one of these things you could be kaifer in. Let's understand the kfir. It's easier to understand than the avodah. Pari could say, okay, like so many philosophers would say, I believe that Hashem made the world, but li yo'ori. When it comes to the yo'or, that's already not mine, Or people could say, Hashem made the world, and he made these shluchim called avodah zarah. So let's worship the shluchim. No, Hashem made the shemesh, Hashem made the yareach, Hashem made the water, Hashem made the oceans, Hashem made asar mamaris. I just read them to you. That asar mamaris, there is nothing which escapes the einoid milvadei. The final mimer is Adam Atzmai, because Adam Atzmai, that's where the Yetzer Hara begins. You created me, I certainly have power. And you do. If you learn Nefesh Hachaim, we do have power. I created you too. So the Asar Mamares gives a lot. It's parai wasn't just a koifer. It was a big avodah for him to be a koifer. it was very hard to be. I mentioned on Shabbos that the Kutzker said, "I'm a fan of parai," like how he was able to withstand all this pressure and everything. It was fantastic. But it was a big job for him, step by step, as the makos were occurring, to try to deny that Hashem is involved with this, but he's not involved in that. I can still go further. I could still go to the next piece of nature. You're killing my animals, I could put them inside. Oh, we're going to kill them inside. Until it got to Makas B'choros, he didn't. At Barad, there was already a ceasefire, but in the Asar Mamares of this, there was no ceasefire. There was no shalom, if you will, until Makas B'choros, as the Maral says, Laharis Amitas Atzma. It's gewaldic. It's a gewaldic thing. So the Asar Mamaros work together completely with the Eser Makos. And as I say, you could even draw the line. I'll give you an example. Like if Makas B'choros is the end, and it relates to Makas B'choros, this already Chazal say in the Psikta that Makas B'choros relates to Anoichi. It goes like this, But Anoichi is on top, Makas B'choros in the end. So
because you do the makos from the bottom up.
Right, you have to do it from the bottom up, obviously.
I'm saying, so then it
Right, because each one to the bottom is closer to the pnim. So Breishis, Bara Elokim, Makas B'choros, that's a rachis, and we in Kaddish we call B'chor rachis, that's a rachis. The second, just as an example, the second is the Choshech, Makas B'choros Choshech. What did Hashem say? The second mimer, Yehi Or. And what does it say by the Baka? L'chol Bais Yisrael Haya Or B'Mosh V'Isam. So what is? So the Makos were literally a tikkun of the klipa that surrounded the Maimars. What's a klipa? A klipa means you have a beautiful fruit, but I can't get into it. I can't get into it. I need, this is a tough nut to crack. That's what a klipa is. If you're eating a kumquat, you could eat the klipa. Eating an orange, you could peel it. As a walnut, you need a keli. It's every klipa is different. It's interesting. I always think everyone always asks me a lot of open bottles on Shabbos, all this on Shabbos. And like, we're living in a whole world of klippas. The whole thing is like, how do you get to the food? How do you get to the pneumius of the thing? Like, that's the shaila of the day, because more goes into the packaging than goes into the actual thing these days. Everything is, sometimes it's like I ordered a little SD card. If I put it in my pocket, I lose it. Came in a box this big. It's klipa. That's like, what's their problem? Like, klipa that they're complaining about, like the environment. But anyways, this is the Indian of klipa is that the whole Asar Mamaros was Bereshis Bar Elokim Hashemayim Hazaros to teach the whole world. It was important for the world to know, and Avraham Avinu reinforced this, discovered it, and reinforced it, that the world was created by Hashem. Every drop of it, all 10 parts of it. Nothing, not to the exclusion of anything else. Hashem created the world.
You're saying that there was klipas in the bria that had to be metaken.
What's a klipa? A klipa means that Paro, for instance, denied that Hashem created the world. That denial is the klipa. The denial is the klipa. It's the simplest shot.
Treated in a way that you can look at the klipa, or you can look at the
Bechira Chavshis.
atzmut.
The Bechira Chavshis. So you have the klipa and you have the atzmus shel davar.
So those who are looking at the klipa need the tikkun.
Exactly. The world needed a tikkun. The whole known world needed the tikkun. It needed a tikkun because the ikar of Paro, the ikar klipa, again, this is Nazayar Mefurish, is when Moshe Rabbeinu first came to him, his first two words, Mi Hashem. Whoa. Imagine somebody here would say that. It's the ultimate klipa. After that, it's details. It's details. Mi Hashem. Me Hashem? Yep, Yisro knew who Hashem was. Avraham Avinu, Moshe Rabbeinu knew who Hashem was. Me Hashem was, Moshe, you don't understand the culture. And what did he say? Oh, you're doing it? My magicians can do that. I have people. They can do the same thing. These are klipas. The magicians are the klipas. Because they're distractions, as you so just beautifully said, they're distractions from the etzem hadavar to the chitzonius hadavar. I'm taken with the packaging. We're all just, the whole. I'm not a Baal Musar. I'm just saying for myself, like the whole world is sugar coated, and I say that as a diabetic. Everything is sugar coated. It looks really, really good. Like, but it's a klipa. Like yesterday, I was walking to the shul. And a woman, one of my neighbors, maybe a 60-year-old woman, was sitting in her car like this, eating this big, gigantic banana split, looking this way, looking that way. Eating it. It's like, so they like when I was walking by, it was like, whoop. It was like, this is not a chet. You're allowed to eat a banana split. It was beautiful. It made me hungry just walking by the car. It was like, but this is like the whole world is sugar coated. Is it good? It's klipa in the sense that it's not the etzem hadavar. So it's gotten ad kedei kach. If you start to watch food, as an example, the klipa is taken over. There is no etzem hadavar any longer. There's really could be nothing there. It could be 100% sugar. 100% sugar. It's not sugar coated. It's 100% sugar, but it's good because it's tam, taste. So what we're talking about is here Paro, Avraham Avinu, Paro. Look at the comparison. Is this real? When it really comes to the test, is it real? That's the question. And it became real with the Asiri Etzem Hadavar. It became real with Makas B'chayros. That's when it became real. Ad Kedei Kach, that he was able to have this nevuah, and that's why. And I didn't want to repeat it, but I'll just say now, the 1 minute left for us. That's why the Chidush Arim. Let me just read you his one sentence, literally one sentence in the Chidush Arim. Adoni Svasemes Parshas Boy, first Svasemes Taf Reish Lamed Aleph, and he says it again, or he says it earlier, I should say, in Parshas Ve'era Taf Reish Lamed Zayin. And he quotes his grandfather, the Chidush Arim. Says it two places that I know. Adoni Avi Zikni. Moiriv Rabbi Zecher Tzadik Levracha. That means the Chidush Harim. He said, Ki ma shahayat tzarech le'eser makos. The reason that there was a need for eser makos was lahasir haklipa vehester me'asara mamaros. La'asoisan aseres hadibros. La'asoisan aseres hadibros.
Not the Eser Nisyonis.
He doesn't say the Eser Nisyonis. Maral says the Eser Nisyonis. So I'm permitted to expand on the Chidushei Harim. So first you have to make it. First there has to be Asar Mamaris. So Asar Mamaris is all about how Hashem created the world. Then there's Asar Klipos, which is all about how Paro and Mitzrayim denied the fact that Hashem created today. No different. Me Hashem. Same thing. The culture denies it. I mean, you don't want to say it about American culture, Israeli culture, talk about communists, just deny that me Hashem. Like, what do you drain a cup with Hashem? It's ancient. It's And then, if not for the klipa, let's say better, if not for the klipa of Mitzrayim, so then the Asar Mamaris would automatically turn into Asaras Hadibros. That's what would happen. There's a klipa, is the mechitza in between. I mentioned this. What's the difference between Mamaris and Dibros? So when I say something like Ani Omer or Hu Omar, I say, what did he say? If I say Hu Diber, I say, with who did he talk? An Amira is a Zog. He's saying something. A Dibur means a conversation. That's what it means. Yeah. So Asar Mamaris should have turned into Asar Hadibros. Okay, Asar Mamaris, I'm creating the world, and it's going right down to the world in the form of Asar Hadibros. What was blocking that? The klipa. So in order to get rid of the klipa, says the Chidush Harim, you needed Eser Makos to get rid of the klipa which surrounded the Asar Mamaris, so now that it could finally turn into Asar Hadibros. How were we zochet to get rid of this klipa? Listen to this. Oh, you there? How do we zochet to get rid of this klipa? Because Avram Avinu did it with the Asar Nisyonis. And if Avram Avinu did it with Asar Nisyonis, that's Machayev Paroi, like Hillel's Machayev is Haniyim. Avram Avinu was Machayev Paroi. You can get down to the Etzem Adavar, and he did. And he did, even though he chased after them a minute later. But he changed his mind. Yeah, he changed his mind. And the klipa was so gone, I believe, that it was a Metzias now of Hashem runs the world. Right now there was a Metzias. Hashem said that now that this has happened, now go borrow things from everybody in the country, because everybody is going to see Hu B'nai Yisrael. Everybody's going to see that the Kili Kol Haaretz. Everybody's going to see that everything Einoid Milvadai at this moment.
It's explicit. It says that then
Exactly. And Chaim, and what was it doing in the nevuah of Makas B'chayros? What was it doing in the nevuah of Makas B'chayros? It's a separate Indian. Tell him later when he goes back out of town in his spiteness. During his spiteness, tell everybody about it. The answer is it's hein on dvarim. It's exactly the same thing. That now you can do it. The skies are open. The klipa is gone. The klipa is gone. My stuff, your stuff. It doesn't make any difference. You worked. What? Very good. No, but you worked for a couple hundred years, like the Gemara says. Take your money. Take your stuff. The Gemara says that. And you'll be Mekayim the nevuah of Avram Avinu v'yetzu b'chush gadol. It's okay, but you can only do that with the nevuah of Makas. Do it quickly with the nevuah of Makas b'chayros, because that's when the doors are open. Okay, thank you very much.
It's significant that the 10th Makkah